Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my NBA DraftKings picks for Monday, November 20th. We got a big slate on this Monday, an 11-game slate. So let's go ahead and get started today looking at point guard, some guys we're going to be looking to target. Alright, so up top at point guard today, we've got Russell Westbrook going up against the Pelicans, 10,500. I'm not going to be paying up for Westbrook today. Don't think I'm going to be paying up at point guard at all today. Just don't really like a lot of the options. Ben Simmons has to go up against Utah. Obviously, that's not the best matchup. Utah, a good defensive team. They play at a very slow pace. Obviously, these guys are in plays for tournaments, but I don't think they're very optimal plays like for cash. I don't think these are guys I'm going to be looking to force into my lineup. John Wall right now, it says he's out, but that was because he missed on Sunday. I am recording this on Sunday night. I guess John Wall's questionable for today's game. Don't really have any news. If John Wall is out, obviously that's a big bump for Tim Frazier. Tim Frazier probably becomes one of the best value plays on the slate. I believe he's like 3,400, I think. So if John Wall's out, definitely look to Tim Frazier. Big upgrade to Bradley Beal as well. If John Wall plays, don't think I'm going to be playing him here at 9K. Just don't think I'm going to be paying up for point guard. Just don't really like the options up here. I think there are some guys in this mid-tier that you can target. One of them being Kemba Walker at 7,900 going up against the Timberwolves. Just a good spot for Kemba. We know Kemba plays well at home. He's playing at home today, and he's in a good matchup against the Timberwolves team that really struggles to defensively against point guards. We know Jeff Teague is not the best defender, so definitely a good spot for Kemba. Playing at home, he shouldn't have a problem returning value on this salary. Definitely can get 5-6x. So if you want to go to that mid-tier, I think that's where I would go at point guard. Either go to the mid-tier or look to pay down. Just not really intrigued by a lot of these options up top. Just not the best matchups in my opinion. But Kemba at 7,900 playing at home against the Timberwolves would be a guy I would target. For tournaments, Lou Williams at 7K going up against the Knicks. Right now, Patrick Beverley is currently questionable for this game. And I believe the same is with Gallinari. If both of those guys are out, Lou Williams is going to continue to play a ton of minutes. He has a ton of upside. Now that he's up to 7K, I don't think we're going to be playing him in cash. But in tournaments, like I said, he has the upside. He put up 60 against the Sixers, played 38 minutes. So if Patrick Beverley and Gallinari are both out today, look to Lou Will at 7K in some of your tournament lineups. And some options that we can target in this mid-tier. I really like Dennis Schroeder's price tag today at 6,300. Dennis Schroeder does feel a little bit too cheap. Obviously not the best matchup going up against the Spurs, a team that's pretty solid defensively, plays at a very slow pace. But like I said, Schroeder's price tag is a little bit too cheap, especially for the kind of usage this guy sees and the amount of minutes he plays. He plays a ton of minutes every night. He's going to see a ton of usage. He's going to take a ton of shots when he's on the court. He'll get a lot of assists as well. So really cheap price tag on Dennis Schroeder makes him an intriguing option in my opinion today at 6,300. If you are looking to that mid-tier in that 6K range, he would probably be a guy I would target. But one of my 5 plays coming from this position is point guard and shooting guard eligible. I'd prefer him. You probably want to play him as shooting guard if you're going to use him today. Avery Bradley at 6K. Really like Avery Bradley today going up against Cleveland, going up against the Cavs. We know the Cavs have really struggled defensively this year, so it's definitely a good spot for Avery Bradley. I like this price tag on him at 6K. Did drop a little bit off of what he was his last game. Was 6,400 against the Pacers. Now today we're getting a $400 discount on him. And I think with this price tag, Avery Bradley should not have a problem returning value on the salary, especially with the amount of minutes he plays. He usually plays over 30 minutes every game. Mid-30s in minutes is usually a reasonable projection for him. And Bradley has the upside on this price to get 6x, 7x. He's done it before, put up 40 DraftKings points against Milwaukee when they played a couple of days ago. So definitely like Avery Bradley here going up against a Cavs team that really can't play defense right now. They can't really stop anybody. I think there are some pretty good options in this game from both sides. And I like Avery Bradley from the Pistons side. Have a lot of interest in him today at 6K. And then looking for some point guards that we can target for value. I do have another one of my 5 plays from point guard. 4,700, another good value play in my opinion today, is Mario Chalmers at 4,700 going up against Portland. Going up against Damian Lillard, who is not a very good defender. I think this is a really good spot for Mario Chalmers. Mike Conley has already been ruled out for like 2 or 3 weeks, so Chalmers is going to be starting. And in the games that he has started for Conley, he's been playing pretty much close to 30 minutes just about every game. In the 3 games he started, 25, 30, and 29 minutes, 29, 21, and 30 DraftKings points. So just been really consistent when he's been in the starting lineup. Obviously the price tag has jumped a little bit. He's jumped up $600. He's now 4,700. But given this matchup against Portland, against Damian Lillard, who's not a good defender, Mario Chalmers should not have a problem at all getting 5x on this price tag. I think he's a really good cash game play. For tournaments, I don't know if I'd use him, but at this price, he does have potential to return 6, 7x, so maybe a good tournament play. But cash games is where I think you definitely want to use Mario Chalmers today. Just given his price at 4,700, the minutes he's going to play, the matchup, just a good overall value play on the slate in my opinion. If you want a tournament option at that same price range, Rajon Rondo at 4,800 going up against OKC. Not sure what kind of minutes limit Rajon Rondo is going to have today. He did play 25 minutes on Friday against Denver and put up 25 DraftKings points. If Rondo does not have a minutes limit today, he's probably another good value play you want to target. Anytime Rondo's on the court, this dude's going to just acquire a ton of fantasy points. He'll score, he'll rebound, he'll assist. So if Rondo's not going to have a minutes limit today, he is a really good value play in my opinion at just 4,800. Should not have a problem at all returning 5, 6x on that price tag if he's not going to be limited in minutes. So definitely can keep an eye on that. Rajon Rondo 4,800 could be a really intriguing play today. And then one more value play that I think you can target at point guard, always for cash games in my opinion, JJ Barea 4,300 going up against Boston. We know Barea is always a consistent guy you can target for your cash games. Rarely does he bust for you, just completely crap the bed. He usually gets 5 to 6x. And his price tag always stays the same as well. He's usually always at around this price range at 4,300. And to get 5x on that price, you're only going to need about 22 DraftKings points. And that's pretty much what Barea has been averaging this year. So definitely like him as a value play if you need a cheap cash game point guard. You want to go cheap at point guard for cash. I think you can target JJ Barea here at 4,300 if you want to go that cheap in price. But yeah, guys, that's what I'm looking at point guard today. There's some guys that I have my eye on. Early looks at this slate. There's some guys I'm going to be looking to target. Let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. Alright, so at shooting guard, up top of this position, we've got Bradley Beal. He's 8K going up against Milwaukee. Don't think I'm going to be on Bradley Beal today unless John Wall is ruled out. If John Wall does not play today, obviously a big upgrade for Bradley Beal. Definitely a guy you're going to want to try and pay up for. But right now I think John Wall is going to play today, so don't have a ton of interest in Bradley Beal at 8K. If you want to pay up at this position, I'd probably go to either Jimmy Butler going up against Charlotte. I think Jimmy Butler could be an option here at 7,500. I don't really like this price tag. His price has started to rise a bit, but he has been playing really well lately. He's been a lot more consistent. In Jimmy's last 4 games, he's put up 44, 47, 27, and 42 DraftKings points. So he's been paying off this price tag. He's paid off in 3 of his last 4 games. So I think if you want to pay up at shooting guard today, Jimmy Butler would probably be the guy I would target. I'd probably take him over Oladipo. If John Wall does not play today, then I'd just go up to Beal, but Jimmy Butler would probably be the option I would target because I'm expecting John Wall to play. So I prefer Butler over Beal. Lou Williams, I mentioned him earlier. You can target him for tournaments today if Pat Bev and Gallinari are both out. If you want to go to this mid-tier shooting guard, I think there are some good options here. Evan Fournier, 6,300. Really like this price tag today on Evan Fournier. I know he hasn't been playing that well lately. That's sort of the reason his price tag has started to increase. On his last 4 games, he's only put up 25, 26, 30, and 18 DraftKings points. So like I said, hasn't really been playing well. But it's definitely a good matchup today, going up against the Pacers, going up against Oladipo, who's not the best defender. Pacers do struggle against shooting guards. So if you want to go to that mid-tier shooting guard, Evan Fournier would probably be the guy with target at 6,300. I prefer just to roster Avery Bradley at shooting guard. I just went ahead and plugged him in, but definitely look to Avery Bradley in this range as well at shooting guard. He is eligible at both positions. And then some value options that we can target. Rodney Hood at 5,600 has been playing really well lately. More of a tournament play. Ricky Rubio has come back for the Jazz, so that's sort of going to cut into Rodney Hood's minutes. But in his last 4 games, he's been up and down 24, 44, 21, and 44 DraftKings points, so he has upside for tournament. He's a good shooter. If he's making his shots, he's going to put up monster games like he did against Orlando and New York. So if you want to target Rodney Hood here at 5,600 for tournaments only because he sort of has potential to bust, but he has the upside for GPPs to put up 6, 7x. So if you want to go to that price range at shooting guard, Rodney Hood at 5,600 could be an option we target. And then looking for some options 5K and under at shooting guard, some value plays. Don't really think I'm going to be going value here. I just don't really like the options here. JJ Barea is eligible at this position, so if you want to play JJ Barea at shooting guard, if you want to go cheap at shooting guard, I'd probably go to him. Maybe Dylan Brooks at 4,100. Right now, as I'm recording this, Tyreke Evans is currently questionable. If Tyreke Evans does not play today, then Dylan Brooks is definitely a good value shooting guard, in my opinion, at 4,100. He has actually been playing pretty well lately. He's been paying off his price tag. He's paid off in 3 of his last 4 games. In his last 4, he's put up 21, 27, 23, and 16 DraftKings points. Been seeing pretty consistent minutes, 28, 28, 24, and 33 minutes. And he'll obviously see an uptick in minutes if Tyreke Evans is out today. He is currently questionable. So if you want to go to Dylan Brooks here, if you need value at shooting guard, I probably would target him at 4,100 if Tyreke Evans does not play. But yeah, guys, those are some shooting guards I'm looking to target today. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward. All right, so at small forward, up top of this position, we've got two studs here, Giannis and LeBron. Obviously, these guys are good plays if you want to pay up for them. Personally, me, I don't think I'm going to be paying up for these guys because there's another stud that I like on this slate that we'll get onto later. And I probably won't have the salary to pay up for Giannis or LeBron. But if enough value opens up, obviously these guys, if you can fit them in, they're good plays. They're really matchup proof. Doesn't really matter who they're going up against. They're going to produce. So Giannis and LeBron, if you want to pay up for them, definitely they're fine plays. I don't think small forward's really a position I'm going to look to pay up at today unless I go to the top, because I don't really have a lot of interest in Paul George. Probably won't be playing Tyreke Evans. Maybe Aaron Gordon at 7,200 going up against the Pacers. Aaron Gordon could be an option we target here. We know he has upside, always a good tournament play. He has potential, just put up monster games. He's done it before. But Gordon has been really inconsistent lately, hasn't really been doing much. In his last 4 games, he's only put up 25, 27, 23, and 30 DraftKings points. So definitely has not been paying off his price tag lately. But he's always a guy you want to target for tournaments because he has a ton of upside. So if you're looking in that range at small forward, Aaron Gordon, 7,200, could be an option we look to target. I like Evan Fournier at this position. If you want to roster him at small forward, I think he's a good option here at 6,300 in that mid-tier. But looking 6K and below for some small forwards that we can target, this is definitely a gross position. I don't really like a lot of options here. Maybe Harrison Barnes at 5,800 going up against Boston. Not the best matchup for Harrison Barnes, but this guy's been really consistent lately. Definitely a guy you can consider for cash because he's probably going to get you 5, 6x. And that's what you want for your cash games. So Harrison Barnes at 5,800. He's been really consistent lately. 40, 34, 27, 29 DraftKings points in his last 4 games. For him to hit cash game value on that price tag, you're only going to need about 27, 28, 29 DK points, somewhere in that range, which he could definitely do even in a tough matchup against Boston. So if you are going to go a little bit cheaper at small forward, Harrison Barnes would probably be the guy I would target here at 5,800. Rodney Hood's eligible at this position. You can play him here at 5,600 for tournaments. I like him. And then looking 5K and below for some value plays that we can target at small forward. I'm definitely not intrigued by hardly any of these value plays. Just these guys aren't good options in my opinion. Maybe if you want to target somebody like Kyle Anderson or Danny Green, but these guys really aren't the most attractive plays. Anderson has been pretty consistent lately in his last 4 games. He's put up 25, 27, 15, and 26 DraftKings points. Been seeing pretty solid minutes, mid-20s, close to 30 minutes about every game. So I guess if you want to go cheap at small forward, if you need to go cheap here, probably target Kyle Anderson or Danny Green at that same price tag. Danny Green hasn't nearly been as consistent as Anderson, but Green does have some upside. Obviously, that game against OKC was sort of an outlier. Rarely does Danny Green have those type of games. But he is a pretty good shooter. If he's making his shots, he can put up 30, 35 DK points, which obviously is good for tournaments. That's like 6, 7x. So if you want to target him as small forward, him and Kyle Anderson, 2 cheap plays I think you can target. But that's what I'm seeing for small forward. I don't think it's a position I'm going to go cheap at. Probably look to that mid-tier for a guy like Harrison Barnes. Or maybe just play a guy that I talked about at shooting guard that you can roster at small forward. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing for this position, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to power forward. Alright, so at power forward, this is a position I'm going to look to pay up for. I'm going to go ahead and warn you guys. I really like Anthony Davis today, 9,800 going up against OKC. He is one of my 5 plays. I'm going to have some exposure to him at this price tag. The reason I warn you guys is because it seems like every time I roster this dude, he gets hurt. I know I was on him earlier this year against Portland, and he got hurt in that game. Only played like 3 minutes, got 5 DraftKings points. His worst game of the year. So since I'm rostering him today, there's a good chance he's going to have another pretty crappy game. So just going to go ahead and warn you guys. But hopefully if AD can stay on the court in this game, I absolutely love him today just at this price tag and the matchup as well. AD will most likely be guarded by Paul George or Carmelo Anthony, and Davis should definitely have no problem winning those matchups. Obviously, Paul George is a solid defender, but Anthony Davis has a ton of size on him. Boogie's probably going to be banging down low with Steven Adams, so I just feel like this is a game where Anthony Davis could totally go off. He is currently listed as questionable on DraftKings, but he's actually probable for this game, so he is expected to play. And if AD does play today, I just absolutely love him here at 9,800. Just think he's way too cheap. I know he hasn't been performing well lately, but I'm definitely going to hop on him while he's this cheap and given this matchup as well. So Anthony Davis, 9,800, have a lot of interest in him today. If I'm going to pay up at power forward, he's probably going to be the guy that I target. Obviously, Boogie at 10-9 is definitely a good play, especially if Anthony Davis does not play. Then Boogie probably comes a lock on this slate at 10-9. But like I said, Anthony Davis, I'm expecting him to play. He is listed as probable. Even though DK has him as questionable, he's actually probable for this game. So I'm expecting AD to play. So he's going to be the power forward that I look to pair for. So that means I probably won't have any interest in like Blake Griffin or Porzingis. Obviously, those guys you can pay up for, but I just try and find a little bit of salary and get up to Anthony Davis. And then if you don't want to pay up at power forward, you want to go to this mid-tier. I think there are some options that we can target. Kevin Love at 7,400 going up against Detroit. I definitely like this spot for Kevin Love going up against Andre Drummond. We know Drummond's not the best defender. We know he's a guy that likes to live under the rim. So having to go up against Love, who will space the floor, who can shoot the three, I think this is definitely a good spot for Kevin Love. And he does have a really nice price tag on him as well at 7,400. I think Love definitely gets 5-6x on that price today. So if you want to go to that mid-tier at power forward, he would probably be the guy I would target in that price range. Derek Favors at 6,400. His price has started to rise. Obviously, he's been playing really well lately with Rudy Gobert out. Been seeing pretty nice minutes. But this is definitely a tough matchup, having to go up against Joel Embiid, who is a solid defender. I think Favors is going to have to play a ton of minutes in this game because they're going to need someone to defend Joel Embiid. But like I said, it's a tough matchup. I don't think Favors really returns value on the salary. He might get 25-30, but that's not really what you want at 6,400. But Favors has shown plenty of upside with Rudy Gobert out. When he started, Favors has really produced well. So if you want to go to him, I think he's a fine play at 6,400, even in a tough matchup against Embiid. And then if we're looking for maybe value at power forward, Dario Saric at 4,700 I think is a good value play today. Saric has been playing a ton of minutes lately. Just in his last 4 games, he's played 27, 34, 33, and 37 minutes. Has put up 26, 11, 21, and 38 DraftKings points. So you're getting a guy at 4,700 who's probably going to play close to 30 minutes, if not more than that. So definitely a good value play, even in a tough matchup against Utah. Sarge is going to play a ton of minutes, and he's only 4,700. So if you want to go to him as a value play at power forward, if you need to go cheap at this position, I probably would target him 5K and under. And yeah, I think that's what I'm seeing for power forward, guys. Not really a ton of value here. I think Dario Saric would be the guy I would target if you want to go cheap. Maybe Willie Cauley-Stein at 4,500. They're probably going to need Cauley-Stein to play a lot of minutes today, having to go up against Jokic and Paul Millsap. They're going to need guys with size on the court. And Willie Cauley-Stein does have a ton of upside. We saw that against Portland. He played 31 and 33 minutes in the 2 games against Portland. He put up 42 and 36 DraftKings points. And I think Cauley-Stein is going to have to play some pretty heavy minutes here, going up against guys with size. They're going to need him on the court. So if you want to go cheap at power forward, Willie Cauley-Stein and Dario Saric would probably be the guys I would target if you are looking to go cheap at this position. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing at this position. Let's go ahead and move on to center. Alright, so at center, some options I'm looking to target here. Don't think I'm going to be paying up at this position unless you're playing Anthony Davis, or if AD's out and you want to pay up for Boogie, then I think those would be the guys I would target. But I'm really not interested in Joel Embiid, not really interested in Karl Anthony Towns. Maybe Nikola Jokic at 9,100 going up against Sacramento. We know Sacramento really can't defend bigs. They have gotten torched by a ton of bigs this year, and we know Jokic has a ton of upside, so he would probably be the guy I would pay up for. But he's definitely not a cash game play, especially not at this price tag. He's always a good tournament play because he has a ton of upside. But at 9,100 in cash games, I think I'd shy away from him here. Really only use him in tournaments. Looking at this mid-tier at center for some options that we can target here. If you don't want to pay up and you want to go to this range, I think Nikola Vucevic at 7,100 going up against the Pacers could definitely be an option you target in this range. Although Vuce really hasn't been playing well lately, this price tag does seem way too cheap on him. This guy was in the 8K range to start the year. Obviously, he was playing a lot better to start the year than he is now. But he is in a good matchup today. He's only 7,100. I think Nikola Vucevic could be an option you want to go to if you want to go to this 7K range. Him, Kevin Love, who I talked about earlier, would be the guys I would target in this price tier. And then looking for some options, maybe 6K and under, some value plays. I do have 2 guys from center that I like in this range. First one is 5,700, Steven Adams, going up against the Pelicans. Just really like Steven Adams today. I think he's going to have to play a ton of minutes. They're going to need guys with size out there to go up against Boogie and AD. So I think guys like Steven Adams and maybe even Jeremy Grant, I think these guys are going to be playing a lot of minutes. And when Adams gets the minutes, the guy's going to produce. He's been really consistent just all year. The minutes have been consistent for him, and rarely does his price rise. He's still pretty cheap in my opinion at just $5,700. So if you want to go to Steven Adams today, I think he's a very good option. I definitely have a lot of interest in him today. I think he's going to have to play some heavy minutes, and at just $5,700, really nice price tag. Like him, if you're wanting to go to that 5K range at center, he would probably be a guy I would target putting into your lineups. And then another one of my 5 plays is coming at that price, at that same price range. Marcin Gortat at $5,300 going up against the Bucks. I really like the spot for Gortat. Really like the matchup. Milwaukee has really struggled to defend centers this year, so I think it's a good spot for Gortat. He has a nice price tag on him today at $5,300. Gortat's definitely been sort of up and down lately. Just in his last 4 games, he's put up 14, 30, 11, and 29 DraftKings points, so definitely been a little inconsistent. But I think given the price tag and the matchup today, he makes a lot of sense as a guy. If you want to go cheap at center, he'd probably be the guy I would target, him and Steven Adams. Like I said, Milwaukee has really struggled to defend bigs this year. I think it's a good spot for Gortat to get a double-double. So if you want to target him, if you want to go cheap at center, he would be the guy I would target. And I think that's it for value at center. There are guys here that are center eligible that I talked about earlier, like Dario Saric, Willie Cauley-Stein. But that's what I'm seeing for centers, guys. That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you also subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. I do upload daily, so you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, so that way you'll never miss out on any of my new videos. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, she shaking fast. Yeah, she dropping slow. What? Yeah, neck on fro. Whoa, 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 whoa.